Well, hello. This is the Logic Only Zone. And I hope you guys are having a great day. Welcome to Logic Church. This is a weekly hangout, you guys, on science, philosophy, psychology, sociology, self-help, truth, and life in general. And I'm super excited to be here with you guys today. We're going to be talking about some awesome stuff. The topics today kind of are more around the range of, we're going to be talking about integrity, the value of human life, what would be a valuable pursuit in life, what does it mean to live a valuable life and a productive life. Discussion on deism. Deism is the idea that the belief that God has created the universe but remains apart from it and permits his creation to administer itself through natural laws. Now, using the concept of God here, we mean it in a general sense. So we don't mean like God. We mean it as some kind of a force or something that has a power to it. So deism thus rejects the supernatural aspects of religion, such as belief in revelation in the Bible, and stresses the importance of ethical conduct. So we're going to talk about that a bit. And then, is everything connected? If so, what are we to make of this connection? If it is there, people often have this sense that everything is connected, but at the same time, everything is also separate. So we're going to talk about that concept and idea. And I'm happy to be here with you guys again. I love Sundays. I love being here and doing this hangout with you guys, and I'm super excited. Let's get this on. I'm going to be dropping the link down for people to join. I'm going to be posting and sharing and adding this thing all over the place so people can find the hangout and join up with us. And I'm going to make the link available to you guys now. Hello again, and welcome to Logic Church, everybody. Okay, the link is now available in the description for you guys to join officially. Also, to my guests who have been invited to the event, I am posting a link to join there as well. If you're having trouble getting into the hangout, I do have my eye on the chat. Please let me know if the link does not work. That can happen. It is a thing. So, please help me out, you guys.
Hey, hey.
Howdy.
How you guys doing?
Me and my good friend here are doing awesome.
Awesome.
How are you?
I'm doing good. Uh-oh.
Oh, it's true.
Let me shut off that other...
Sherman Nation.
There it is.
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm not going to take up too much of your time. I'm just here to I'm not even talking about that's so selfish. I'm going to talk about just basically how much I enjoy your hangouts and how much I enjoy them. So I'm just going to kind of kick back for a while, and then when things start to get heavy, I'm just going to go ahead and kind of crawl underneath the door and just go get some water or Gatorade or something, because we did a very good hangout last night, and I'm not depressed or anything. I'm just extraordinarily disappointed that so much good stuff just because of like some music, and it's like I am like scared of music. I've been like seriously like a meth addict for like the past 5 hours, just frantically checking all of the music on my channel, and it's just like, okay, I guess we could bring copyright awareness real quick. It just, all I have to say is just be careful with whatever you do on YouTube in regards to music. I have to say that volume sometimes does not affect the channel, but 9 times out of 10, that doesn't even matter. Length doesn't even matter. I don't know what matters to these people, because I guess the copyright laws are just kind of mundane to them. So it's really kind of a Wild West situation online, what I'm learning, and the courts usually can't intervene to overturn a lot of this stuff, but it's really just companies abusing the monetization system, and so I have to kind of calm down a little and just kind of look at it from a more a more I would say a capitalistic perspective that these people are just simply trying to cash in to where there's one market that's drying up, and it doesn't make any sense to me. Instead of just trying to milk this cow that's obviously dried up, just why don't you just trans over to the internet, so but a lot of these companies are very stubborn, and they feel that that's what they're going to go for, what works. And hey, in some regards I can't blame them, but geez Louise, they understand the situation too, and just like we take advantage of the things that we're allowed to get away with, they take advantage of the system that's in play. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, really.
Yeah, well, they're just trying to get paid.
Really? Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. That's really what it's all about. It's just about money.
Yeah, well, oh well, way she goes.
Right.
Yeah, YouTube's set up to aid the fraud of people doing that with music. I had purchased licenses from a place called Vertex Maximizer, and that was the only thing that business did. Is it made songs for what you got there?
Blueberry scones again. Ooh.
Ah, so yeah, but what the thing was is I paid license for the music, and I had an unlimited usage license for all of it. And then my computer was down for a few months, whatever, and I get back on, and all of a sudden YouTube has a copyright strike against every video that I did with that stuff, right? Even though I had explained to them before, because there was one case like that before. So now I don't even trust that. I don't buy any music or that. If I got a beat on a coffee can, they have music in the background. That's what I'm going to do. I got musical instruments around. I'm just lazy about it. But yeah, they'll do that. I had a friend in Ireland who, what this company had done was they mirrored his entire site and his identity, and they did it just to slap ads on all the videos. And there's nothing he could do about it. He was just put out of production for like 6 weeks or whatever it was. And then if you contest it, they'll walk away a winner either way, because they're just like, okay, well, we got our money out of you, off of your videos and that, So yeah, it really isn't fair. It's they keep saying they're going to reform it, work on that, but I don't see it happening.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I don't have anything to say. I was just yapping.
No, I was just going to say that I didn't mean to take away from your topics of today. It was just a mere fact that we just had such a great hangout, and call it arrogance or call it
last night? Was
yeah.
this last? Oh
Yeah.
Wait, for reals?
Yeah,
What song? What song?
The Degeneration X song that I play in the opening.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you just can't use anyone's music. You know what? I'm gonna be posting. I made a lot of electronic music. I'm gonna post that later on and see if maybe you can use that or something.
I'm gonna start producing. But if you can,
Yeah,
if you
do
can
something.
provide, if someone can, give me like a couple of months here, and I'll start paying for stuff. So I just need to get up and running right here with my business, and things will be operational. And I need to. I know I talked about this, and this is kind of side, but the beard has to go. Unfortunately, the beard has to go. So.
Now, why is this?
My business.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
I just don't want to frighten. I want the clean kind of look. So
It's scary to the children.
This is a historical moment. This will be one of the last times you might see me with the beard. But then again, I might change my mind at the last minute. So
I'm digging it. I like the beard.
Yeah. Hopefully.
It's punk rock.
Yeah. Hopefully the people don't freak out or anything like that. But yeah. For the most part, everyone's like really, not really caring. They don't care. So, but there's a piece of me that's like, should it stay or should it go? It's just that whole thing. And again, I'm being the fucking arrogant jackass. I'm making the hangout about me again. But
well, that's all right. That's I know early on I worked at some place. It was years ago, and the guy kept threatening to make me shave off my beard, whatever, you know. You know, if I didn't get stuff right or whatever. So I just shaved it off, you know, just to spite him, right? And then he was like all worried about it, like, dude, you didn't have to do that, whatever. And, you know, and I'm like, no, it really wasn't a big deal, like, you know. But to him, he thought like, oh man, you know, like he committed murder or something, you know. But yeah, that you could always grow it back, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It is.
Well,
Yeah.
go ahead and break it down there, brother.
Break it down. So we're just getting warmed up here, you guys. So I'm still inviting and sharing the hangout with people. We're waiting for people to join. Once we get like 4 or 5 people, we'll kind of jump into the topics here. First topic is on integrity. Does anybody here care about integrity? What is important? Is it an important thing?
Well, I know my integrity goes out the window when I get upset. Definitely, anger is a weak point and a strength for me, and it depends on how I use it. But integrity is a very important tool, I believe, to use. You know, it's just to me, it's an aspect to use.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, integrity. I guess it's one of those things that's conditional, right?
Right.
Because you can be in a situation where maybe you're the one voice of reason, right? Because of your integrity, right? But then, depending on how, if it's a situation that's not as important, and people are just kind of riding you, and you know, and it's like better to kind of comply just to get through something. If it's like a little thing, you know, like not a big major issue, then sometimes you can let integrity slide, I think. But it depends on the situation and what you you know, what you're having integrity about, right? Because you want to be adaptable, right? Like that's a good thing too, and you want to be open-minded. But at the same time, you have to balance that out with skepticism and all that, right? So yeah, so I guess integrity, depending on the situation, it can be very important.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's all they teach in the military is integrity and you know, having courage and commitment. Definitely. As a matter of fact, those used to be the core values a long time ago. It used to be integrity, courage, and commitment, or it used to be honor, courage, and integrity. Right. So yeah, now it's honor, courage, commitment. But it really does evolve around integrity and not making your superior look like a jackass. Having the integrity to, you know, kind of like form a union between him and you, but you can see easily how that could become kind of like a butt kiss situation, and then all of a sudden integrity kind of goes too far. So there is a mental aspect where you can misuse integrity for your benefit.
Right.
Yeah, what do you guys think in terms of integrity, which is the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles, moral uprightness? What do you think is a valuable moral to be upright about? Like, what's something that we should be integral about? And is it worth the consequence of being integritous, integral?
Either one will work for me. I don't know. I mean, well, I mean, you have certain things that you brought up with certain values, right? And I think most people wouldn't just kill somebody for no reason, right? Or violate somebody for no reason, or steal for no reason, right? Okay, but then you're going to have people that are in situations where it's like a situational thing, right? Like maybe somebody had to steal because they needed food or something like that. You know, maybe it was that type of situation. Okay, so to an extent, your integrity is based on your circumstances, right? And the circumstances you're raised in, the what you're taught, right? And you might be in a situation, somebody might, where integrity is not really that big of a thing, right? Where it's like not, it doesn't count as much, I guess. So yeah, so like your basic integrity thing, like you wouldn't want to maybe cheat on a friend, right? Like if you knew a friend that had a girl or whatever, you wouldn't want to cheat on him. That might be a strong one. The thing about like not killing anyone just because you're angry or whatever, that might be a strong one. Not stealing might be a strong one. Aside from all that, I don't know. I think it's more periphery issues, right?
Well, I noticed that even among like unintelligent people, they don't want to have their intelligence insulted. Even stupid people, imagine that. Even dumb people on this planet don't want to have their intelligence insulted. But the way that they respond is, in a way that wouldn't be so, in the ways of mannerisms, like a college professor would. If you insult the intelligence of Neil deGrasse Tyson, he'll probably just
laugh at you, right?
Yeah, he'll probably just look at you and go. So someone send this guy to go get my latte from Starbucks.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah,
he wastes his time.
Yeah, you call somebody stupid and they get angry. It's like right there, you guys. So, hey, Atheist Ranger, do you have any thoughts on the concept of integrity? Does it matter?
Yeah, I think it does matter, especially from what I've seen in the world of business.
Cool. Do you have any reason for that? You think so? Why do you think so?
Because if you don't have integrity, very simple, nobody's going to want to do business with you. That's why sometimes it's hard to open a business, because sometimes people have trouble trusting someone's integrity. That's why in America it's hard to even open up a small business, because if you don't have any integrity, no one's going to want to come to you. Simple as that.
That does make sense. Okay, so there's a social benefit to being an integral person in some aspects, but particularly when it comes to business. Cool.
Yeah.
So Matt, do you have any feedback on that? Any thoughts on integrity?
I think he's still muted.
Okay. Anybody else? Because I'm thinking that idealistically, I'd really like to be an integral person. I think integrity is really important. I think that if you're not, there's going to be consequences for you as an individual. I think you can create a lot of trouble for yourself if you're not, if you don't have moral principles or something like that. But also, I can see people who are too moral and become judgmental about other people. I can see how that could also be bad. So being morally upright can also have negative consequences as well if you're too hardcore about it, I think. So maybe there's a type of balance we're looking for. What do you guys think about that?
I'd say it's possible for some people to kind of balance things out. We all have our flaws, so there's no question about that. It's just a question of, are you able to get along with the next guy as best as you can without disrupting their day or life or lifestyle, and having the integrity and, just letting them be. Unless they poop on your backyard, then it's kind of a different story. If someone poops on your backyard, then you kind of take that shit a little personal. And what I mean by that, it's an analogy, just basically meaning when someone messes up something in your life, and basically when they do it on purpose. It's one thing on accident, but when it's just like an intent behind it, then, like I said, there's integrity that goes out the window. Now, I get angry from time to time and rage out, but I do that online. I keep that here. I have the integrity to at least to keep all the rage, all the whatever on here, and not let it spew out in my personal life, and care about those around me, and have the the common decency to ensure that the ones around me can bear and tolerate me, basically. And that's basically what it's about, is just trying to make it comfortable for the person next to you, because you want to be treated in that manner. And integrity is all, not all about that, but there's some corners to it that covers that, in terms of wanting to be treated the way that you treat others. And I think that's a a pretty hardcore lesson to be learned, especially if you're in a harder living condition. It's a lot easier preached than taught, honestly. But the fact of the matter is, so many people at times choose to be ignorant. They choose to, and it's really online, really. And I don't know whether it's a good thing, because these people don't necessarily lack that flair in real life. Like in real life, they're kind of way more turned down, but online you see people just say all kinds of weird and crazy stuff. So I'm just thinking to myself, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing that this is kind of like the purge of language. Just get it all out and and then when you go to your normal day life, it's just like, oh, much better. I was able to say fuck 50 times a day and no one cared. So it depends on how you use it, how far it goes, who you're around, who you associate your business with, and you'll find that you connect more with those who actually just like you. You'll find that if you go out there and explore the world, there are so many people who are just like you, and they have their differences and their morals and their codes, and I don't do that thing because this thing happened to me, or so it's life is a bunch of up and downs and shit and craziness, and I'm just learning how to accept my quote unquote privilege, my little kingdom, my little world, and just learn to enjoy it for what it's worth.
Nice. Good response. Does anyone else have anything left to say about integrity?
I'm sorry.
I think we killed it. I think we killed that topic.
Yeah, I don't mean to be a pain in the neck, but
go ahead.
No,
be a pain. Do it.
No, the link that you sent me, is not working. It says I have to install a plugin, which I've never seen before. I don't know why.
Oh, that's weird. Has anyone else had that experience?
I just have the thing where they're shifting my profiles around. It should have came up the yellow one, but it came up the other one. But it works, So.
Yeah, I just use the scheduler, and then like people freak out, like, "True, you're not doing your thing," and I'm like, hold on, that's just the scheduler, because YouTube is so. I don't think it's as YouTube's fault as much as it is Google, and yeah, I don't even understand anymore with Google. Google and YouTube, between the two of them, it's like just getting your ass kicked by like two just broly tag team wrestlers, like the Dudley Boys, or like the Road Warriors or something like that. Just for hours, seriously.
Mm-hmm.
You never know with these guys.
So Ozzy brought something up really interesting. Why do people value integrity? Because it's practical, to impress people, or for something deeper? Ooh.
I think part of it is function, because integrity, by itself, right? Like a person having integrity, I don't think you can actually have it by yourself. It has to apply to, say, a social situation of some sort, right? Or a situation where you're working with or around others. So I see it as something that maybe even evolutionary, in origin, right? Something where you can function with others better. Because like if you're, say it's cavemen or whatever, right? And you got the one caveman is eyeing the other caveman's wife or daughter or whatever it is, right? It's like if they start messing with each other, then another group of cavemen will be able to take them over pretty easy, right? Or maybe they have to build something before a storm comes in or something like that, right? And they can't do it because you have to have some kind of trust in your fellow man, and integrity gives you that trust, right? Allows you to have that trust.
Mm-hmm.
Hollywood and culture stories and that, everybody kind of a lot of people romanticize the idea of the underdog or the wild card or whatever, right? But usually it's the guy that's just kind of the normal, whatever, guy that just kind of goes along with stuff. That's like the hero, right? Because he does have integrity, but it's within that group, right?
Yeah. Interesting. So it could just be selfishly for our own survival.
I think the basis of it would be, yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, maybe we don't think of it that way, right? Like we probably have these other abstract layers of what we believe it is or why it's good. But when you strip down right to the origin of it or the need for it, it's for our own protection, for our own needs.
Yeah. Intriguing. I think also, I think by caring for other people and trying to maintain balance between me and them and keeping a solid relationship with people through integrity, I think it promotes the survival of others and me. So so I think like what you're saying is partially correct. There is a selfish aspect to it, but I think also it's logical because by caring about other people and trying to be fair and equal, it also helps me look after myself at the same time and other people. So,
right,
interesting.
Right. And also, you have value like self-value, right? And if you have empathy, right, then you have value for others, and you might even value that person or feel more, like keeping your integrity or keeping your trust with that person because that person might be like you or might be somebody who you admire or somebody that reminds you of yourself at another time. And you could take all that and say it's like selfish reasons or whatever, right? But there's also that abstract layer to it.
Yeah, and like Ozzy's saying, imagine a person who's integral. He can, at dinner, invite his wife, child, lover, drug dealer, boss, friend, and they all know who they are to the person. Now imagine a person who has to keep his lover from his wife, from his child, keep his drug dealer a secret to, had to hide stuff from his boss, etc. He is fractured many things, different things to different people. So that's a problem when you're not being integral, when you're dealing with all kinds of different people and different stuff, not being consistent, then you have all of those things that you're holding inside of yourself in different situations that makes you fractured. Interesting.
Right. And you're not going to be able to please everyone, or I mean, you can have integrity, I guess, with everyone pretty much, right? But you're not going to be able to make everyone happy. People are going to dislike you, no matter how much integrity you have, right? Depending on the person or the situation.
If you're trying to please everyone, then you might as well just go ahead and call yourself Hillary Clinton. Seriously, pull out the old hot sauce out your purse.
Hot sauce.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I just had to drop that real quick.
I think it's integrity is also important. This is my life experience, but also to possibly build social relationships. I mean, I don't know about any of you, but if someone doesn't have integrity, I'm most likely not going to be friends with that person.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's kind of easy to tell. But anyway, you guys want to move on? Next topic?
Sure.
What's next up?
Okie dokie. So a discussion on the value of human life and what we do with it. What does it mean to live a valuable and productive life? So all of us have different lifestyles and experiences and all that. So, and I know all individuals are creative and unique, so, and they all are different, but are there things that we could talk about in terms of things that you guys think are valuable to add to your life, to be productive, and what does it mean to live a productive life to you guys?
Ooh.
It's kind of deep, yeah. Little bit deep.
Yeah, who wants to go first? Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh well, I just did a video not too long ago, and it was something that it was kind of bothering me. I was thinking about, and this guy Joe Carter, who's in some of our circles and that, I think I've been in a few hangouts with him. Okay, he had posted this article about this woman. Her name is oh geez, Liz Parrish. Liz Parrish, and she's a CEO from some pharmaceutical company, right? And what she's doing is she went to South America, and she's taking part in an experiment to extend her telomeres, right? Her telomeres. So, so anyway, her and these other people are getting shot up with this gene therapy, and what it's doing is it's making it so they'll either stop aging or reverse age, right? And I was watching this video of her, and she was explaining her values with that, right? And how, like a normal human life, you know, if you make it to an old age, you're still going to have, you know, either be in a nursing home or be where you can't move or all this other stuff, right? So her imperative is to, you know, give more value to life by making life pretty much endless, right? But see, the other thing is that there's a lot of ethical things that go with that, and does it change the value of your life if you know that you're not going to die unless, say, you get hit by a car or you're in a war or whatever, right? I could see that going both ways, right? Like either you would value life more or value life less, right? But her value is to end all disease, starting with old age, and then every other disease with that. So that would actually be transhumanism, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about ascending from the human race, which would mean that you're placing a higher value on this transhumanism than say normative human beings, right? So I don't know. So it's just kind of a weird thing, the ethics with it. You know, like you figure if everyone had this, and it is conceivable that they could have these treatments within, say, 50 years, right, where they're affordable, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if that were the case, then there would have to be some kind of mandatory antinatalism, right? Or Gary would love this, right?
Oh my gosh.
There would have to be, right? And they, in case of a contingency, in case of something happening where it was a natural disaster, you would still have to have some people that breed it, right?
Right.
Or some humans that were new, that were created, right? But most people, and imagine the aspects of it. Okay, say you're 20 years old and you're standing next to somebody that looks like they're 20 years old, but they're like 300 years old, right?
Yeah.
How much are they going to know, and how much can they get away with, like, over on you? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it would change the values of life, the values of a lot of things. You know, if somebody gave you that chance, it's kind of like the vampire kind of scenario, right? It's like it would be horrible preying on these other people and all this other stuff, but if you had immortality, would you do it? You know, I think if you're on death's door, a lot of people would do that, you know.
Yeah, and if you can't die, that can do some weird stuff to the psyche. I mean,
Right,
you know,
right.
the psyche's not meant to live that long, so I wonder what would happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like if you were a psychopathic android or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
then, or you know, anyway, if you're subhuman or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if the temptation to be unintegral and to harm other people or have power or manipulate people, I wonder if that would be even more tempting. Because part of the thing is, because you're going to die, there's
Mm-hmm.
really no point in permanently trying to control or manipulate other people, because you're going to lose it anyway. So you're just fighting for something that's going to be taken from you.
Right.
So what if you do live forever? That is a big issue.
Well, see, and the thing with that too, what's kind of weird, and she kind of alluded to this woman, and I never thought of this before. Okay, if the health insurance companies get into this, it would actually be cheaper for them to do that treatment than it would to keep you alive in a nursing home, right? Or to do hip replacements and all this other stuff. So at some point, it would become mandatory to live forever, right? If it was a successful program. Because the ethics behind it would be like, well, you're choosing not to do this if you didn't check out right away, if you died of natural causes, that would be an expense to the state, right? So that's kind of a weird aspect of it, right? It could be like a mandatory life sentence, right?
Yeah. Wow. Sentence for life.
I know some of you
Oh
are
my gosh.
probably like wondering what I'm doing over here. I'm really massaging my wrist because I think I might have some weird form of carpal tunnel because, you know, I've been doing a lot of this for the past 25 years.
Uh-oh.
So yeah, my thumbs will probably need a break. But just thinking about it, mortality, and I used to heal so much faster just 5 years ago when I was 25.
Right.
And now it's like my right hand, I could move it, but it's like I move it at a certain angle, it cracks, you know, and it's like I'll go to a doctor and, hey, this is happening, and they'll be like, oh yeah, yeah, you're getting older. I'm like, there's nothing you can do about that. You just keep stretching and walk every day and you stretch, and it's like, my God, I'm there. I'm at that age where this shit matters now. You know?
Oh, I hear you, yeah.
And it's like you staring mortality in the face every day, and it's like beyond just your normal body just aging on you. You know, you're going from one aspect of life to another, and it's like, I don't know, it's sad and it's kind of poetic, but at the same time, it's kind of what logic said. Is this shit really supposed to last forever? Like, do I really want to be 80 years old and just be barely moving with my whole body carpal tunneled and
yeah, just... if you got carpal tunnel, you can't play video games, right? That's one thing. If you're old, you can always play video games.
So I'm trying to save what's left of my cartilage and stretch it and, you know, do push-ups and get back into exercising, and I'm about to do my job thing and hopefully I could save my hands for another, you know, hopefully 15, 20, 30 years. But then again, you look at Prince, he's 57. He's only 27 years older than me. So then there's a question of, you know, how long do I have? Do I even have that long to live? But and I'm not trying to scare people here. I'm just trying to.
I'm a little scared, Drew.
I know. Yeah, I'm just trying to tell people. For the people who are younger than me, for the people who think you're going to live forever, I'm just trying to tell you guys, appreciate it. Appreciate the fact that you have hands, that you have a mind to think, that you have video games, that you have all this shit. Because there's always someone out there who doesn't have it. My father told me, if there's one of the few things he ever told me in my life, he told me, you'll stop complaining about the shoes on your feet when you meet a man with no feet. And he said, today I met a man with no feet. He can't wear shoes.
Right.
And he's too chunky or whatever to get the metal things. So he's in this wheelchair for the rest of his fucking life. And there's also this wrestler, by the name of Draws. Used to have, I think, all the piercings or whatever. Mm-hmm. And now he's can't feel anything from the neck down, paralyzed. Oh. So I'm not trying to scare anyone. I'm not trying to say. I'm just trying to simply say these things happen. Be careful and appreciate the shit that you got while you still got it, because you will wake up one morning. It doesn't matter whether you get paralyzed or you get stabbed to death or you're burnt at this age or whatever age. There will inevitably be an age where I cannot play video games no matter what I do. So this thing here, this is only the least of my concerns, and that's why I don't concern myself with it. I don't concern myself with the negative. I concern myself with I lived a great life. I did some crazy stuff, and I look back and I could say, I did that. I did that crazy shit. And you know what? Can't be mad at it. And the goods, the bads, the emotion, the drama, the hope, all that shit. It was all worth it in the end. All of it. It was all. It all had a purpose in one way, shape, form, or fashion. So it's like a ripple effect, a butterfly effect, if you dare. So I'll shut up now.
Life was beautiful when we're all living as immortal robotic humans living in bubbles. You guys. So Ozzy said something interesting. He said that it'll be interesting in the future if people all become immortal, because when somebody dies, that's kind of a big deal, right? Because you're immortal, so you're not supposed to die. And then when somebody dies, it's going to be a huge tragedy, and people are going to flip out about it.
Right, right. And see, it's funny because it could go either way, right? There was I think it was a Kurt Vonnegut story that Wizard of Oz read not too long ago. And it was something like To Be or Not To Be or whatever. I don't know the title offhand. But what the story was is they lived in a world, these people, where they had conquered old age and people could live forever. And what the problem was is that when somebody was pregnant and they were going to have a new baby, they had to either abort the baby or somebody had to die just to even out everything. And so there's this one character in the story who chooses to die because he feels he's had a full life and all this other stuff, and he values the new life more than his own. But I think a lot of people, I guess it would depend on how long you lived, right? But I think a lot of people, if you were in that situation, I think you would want to live, right? Like, anything other than dying, right? As long as you were healthy, as long as you were relatively healthy, right? So I could see that where like a person might get over a few hundred years might get really paranoid of like leaving the house or crossing the street or whatever, because it's like well, I'm not going to die of old age, but maybe a bee sting will kill me or something or whatever, right? So I could see that happening where the value becomes a pathology.
So life becomes all about just staying alive still.
Right. Like that becomes the most important thing, which it kind of is now, but even more so, right?
Right. Yeah.
Well, if you can make people
Sounds
invincible.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, see, that'd be the next thing. Okay, if they conquer that, then it'll be like, well, let's see what we can do to make bones denser. Make skin unimpregnable. That kind of thing, and if we go like with nanotechnology and synthetics and stuff like that, that might be a thing in the distant future. But as far as value of life, then I don't know what it would be. Because what would life be if you had no desires or needs? If you just existed, and maybe you could still enjoy art or whatever, that kind of stuff. But maybe you wouldn't need sex or wouldn't want sex or wouldn't enjoy food or anything like that, right?
Yeah, so then what's the point of living? Just cerebral contemplation of some sort? Or
Right.
Yeah, it becomes kind of pointless. Which makes you reflect on the value of our current lives right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff, but in assessing the value of what makes a good life and what makes life valuable and enjoyable, it does. I mean, the list isn't that long. I mean, there's some good stuff. Don't get me wrong. There's some great stuff in life. You can really enjoy stuff, but I think the fact that life goes away is something that makes it so much better. I really do think so. That if I were to become immortal, I think that would totally ruin that. That life would cease to be enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd actually become curious. You'd want to know what's on the other side. I think you'd get tired of living. I don't think anybody would want to live forever.
Well, I always like
some people might.
Right. Well, I always liked there was an episode of one of the Superman comics, right, where it was Brainiac explaining why he did what he did with all these worlds, right? how he collects them and shrinks them down and all this other stuff. And he's telling Superman, he says the value, okay, something about the information that he takes is more valuable with the less people that have it, right? So what he does is he goes through the universe, he collects these races and their cultures and all this other stuff. He archives all their knowledge, and then he destroys the original world so that nobody else can have that knowledge because it's valuable to him. But see, then you got to think like this type of creation, this Brainiac character in that telling of it, that's his only drive, right? That's the only thing that he derives any type of satisfaction from, is just gaining knowledge and destroying the original source, right? So like, could you imagine, you know, if it evolves to, mankind evolves to this type of being where sex is no longer an issue, food's no longer an issue, you know, then what do you have left? Information, I guess.
Yeah. And when you look at things like that, I mean, it's all of this taking in of things. And once you become like more robot than human, you're probably not going to really need to take in stuff, you know. And the likelihood of you being able to enjoy something like smoking a cigarette or drinking a cold beer or something like that, I don't think you'd be able to enjoy it. I don't think you. I mean, maybe they can create it so you artificially feel that, so you can have the sensation of smoking a cigarette or drinking a beer or something. But I don't think it's going to be the same.
Atheist Ranger, what's your favorite television show?
That is a tough one. Right now or in the past?
Right now. Right now.
Right now, I would have to say Lucifer.
Lucifer. Would you like to watch that forever?
Believe it or not, yes. It's actually a good show. Just playing. No, probably not.
Okay, that's my case. Fuck it.
I
That's the end of my argument, I guess. Hey.
I'm just playing. No, probably not. It would get boring after a while.
I'm just simply making I guess a straw man point that innately you want the shit to end. It has to end. It has to go away. It makes it special. Like when Breaking Bad ended, it ended at a perfect place. And then that's kind of life in general. Like maybe some things just need to die at a certain time in order to, you know, give it more of a gratification for those who are still alive. Maybe that's why so many people, you know, gravitate around those who are dead, because, you know, to take satisfaction to what we have today. Again, appreciation of what you got today, because tomorrow you never know. You might not be able to move your hand, and, you know, now the video game season is over. Now it's time for season How Do I Die? Shit, you know, that's the last season of True Sherm. Watch it, you know. that's basically how it is. You know, you got season 1. Some people don't even make it out of season 1. They don't even make it out of the plot. The pilot, you know, pilot gets messed up, you know, things happen, blah blah blah. You know, plan gets kinked, bad script writing. Yeah, it's life, you know. Some people come out crazy, screwed up, this, that. Bad writing, man. That's bad writing. A lot of times, though, it's pretty decent writing, you know, mediocre stories being told. Some
like
stories...
Not dead.
Yeah. Well, I'm just simply saying some stories are greater than others, where you have... And that's kind of like life in general. Like, you have a whole bunch of stories out there. Some of them are interesting. Some of them are unbelievable. Some of them are like, what the fuck? And some of them are like, meh. Some of them are like very dramatic and sad, and some of them are heart-filled, and you feel the love and you feel the joy. Some of them are corny. Some of them are funny. Some of them are this. Some of them are that. Different strokes for different folks. But overall...
Go ahead.
I was going to say, the overall point I'm trying to make, I think that we all can try to correlate with, is that not only do you innately, you know, get tired of one thing and move on, but it has to kind of end in order for progress. If you keep trying to hold on to one thing for too long, innately it gets sad. It really does. But you can, if you want to. There's no problem with you know, people holding on to things that they held on to when they're kids and keep on doing it. But
Yeah,
don't
it's
just
like, yeah, I agree with you.
yeah, I'm just saying, don't make it your lifestyle. Like I love video games, but I'm not gonna put like a giant video game controller on the car and drive around with, walk around with the Nintendo briefcase. I'm not gonna go that far with it. It's just something I enjoy in life, something I appreciate. But again, if you want to do that, who am I to stop you? Different strokes for different folks. Appreciate life for what it is. Find your thing. Go for it.
Yeah. It's like, when I was a kid, I used to like to play Pokemon, but if I were to play it now, it would just be for, Pokemon, that's kind of cool. But I think after a couple of days, I'd be like totally done with that again.
Oh yeah, I mean
it's old school,
Yeah, I was the same with Yu-Gi-Oh, but I think when I reached high school, I just stopped because it got boring for me.
Yeah. Well, guys, I don't think that we established anything. I mean, we went over some of the stuff that we wanted to talk about with this topic. This topic went all over the place. But did we establish anything at all in terms of the value of life, or what would be a good life? I think we did hit on that a little bit in that, life is about change and going to the next thing, and
appreciation.
Appreciation, stuff like that. Yeah. So we did hit on it a fair amount. Anything left on this? Anything else you guys want to say? I think we did pretty
Not really about production, but as far as value, I think don't waste your life. My life philosophy is don't waste your life being a jerk, and don't waste your life being a slouch. That's my life philosophy.
Hustle, hustle, hustle. Get that hustle on.
And again, I don't mean to scare anyone either, but none of us know, even in this room, none of us know how long we have.
Mm-hmm.
That's the bad thing about death.
I have to say, though, if I died right now, I'm really happy with everything I did up till now. So no regrets on my part.
Yeah, me too.
Fascinating.
Same here. Same here.
Pretty crazy life, enjoyable life. Went a lot of different places, saw a lot of different things. Even though I didn't get to live in my dream house or live my dream life, still, it is a dream life I'm living. Seriously. It's a pretty damn good life, and I get to tell a lot of stories right before I kick the old proverbial bucket. So, yeah.
Nice. All right, you guys. Are you guys ready for some deism? Yeah.
Sure.
No.
Yeah.
Bring on the
not.
deism.
I can't do it tonight. No. Tonight. No.
You can
No
do
logic.
it.
Don't do this to me, logic. I can't handle this right now.
After last night, I need a week. I think I need a week off.
Yeah.
If it helps,
yeah.
I used to be a deist.
Oh, man.
Well, I mean, I think I used to, but to a degree, I don't think I really took any of it really seriously. Like I was always a thinking person ever since I was a boy. So, like ever since I was a kid, I was like, all right. So I used to ask my mom all the time, so what does God look like? And she was like, no one really knows, baby. And I was like, well, why do we pray to him if we don't know what he looks like? Well, you have to have faith. Well, do we have faith with Santa Claus? Santa Claus, we don't know what he looks like, but do we pray to him? No, baby, you don't pray to Santa Claus. So why do we pray to this person, but not? I don't get it. And I'm 6 years old asking this stuff. So you can only imagine what I've been going through my entire life. I used to think that thunderstorms were wrestling matches between God and the devil. Like
that's pretty hardcore, true.
Well, that's what is implanted in kids' minds. When you ask, like when you hear your first thunderstorm and you're in Southern California, okay, when you don't really hear thunderstorms all that much, you're innately going to ask your parents, like, what does that sound, man? What does that sound? Oh, baby, that's just the Lord doing his work. What does that mean? That doesn't mean anything.
Did your mom really tell you that?
Yes! I'm trying to tell you, this is the craziness that they preach in religion and craziness and
you poor guy, you poor soul.
It's okay.
You poor guy. Don't worry, just trust in Jesus and it'll be okay.
I will.
Okay, good.
He always answers my phone calls.
Okay. All right, guys. So discussion on deism, the belief that God God, not like, you know, man in the sky God, you know, kind of like a force or a power of some sort, has created the universe but remains apart from it and permits the creation to administer itself through natural laws. Deism thus rejects the supernatural aspects of religion, such as belief and revelation in the Bible, and stresses the importance of ethical conduct. I think we all here agree on ethical conduct, and I think we also agree with it in terms of ethical conduct as it relates to nature, because we talked about how it's kind of related to survival as well, survival of self and other. So we agree with that at least. But so my thinking is, when I look at ecosystems in nature, I can see how all the things in the ecosystem are working together in balance. So you have your predators, and you have your, you know, herbivores, and everything's doing these different things, viruses and bacteria, everything's working together. And through the balance that everything creates, everything can coexist, and the energy transfers around the ecosystem, and everything flourishes. And if, for example, a shark ate too many fish, then there wouldn't be enough fish, and all the sharks would die. So for some reason, in the ecosystems, everything functions in this way. So I find that to be fascinating. I think that it could be possible that there's some kind of force behind nature, in that life doesn't have to exist in a universe that is chaotic. So there may be something behind it that causes it to come into existence through sort of a will of sorts, kind of like the energy has a plan or a will for what it wants it to work like. Because here's the thing, it doesn't have to necessarily work in any particular way. Or maybe it does. Maybe it does have to work in that way for it to exist. But I find this to be fascinating, so I'm interested in the concept of deism. Any thoughts, you guys?
It's, to me, sometimes it's arrogant for human beings to believe that there could possibly be a God that cared enough to intelligently design anything. But when you put it in that kind of perspective, there is something kind of spooky going on in this corner of the universe.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
There's something going on. I'm not one to go for religion, but I would consider myself to create a spiritual person, a person that, you know, likes to connect with things that are, you know, organic or whatnot. Now, the agnostic part of my thing is that I don't know. There could be, there might be, but the problem is there you know, lack of evidence, or is the evidence all around us in terms of the laws that are here? Could we possibly combine science and the religions and kind of, you know, simmer all this shit up? Because quite frankly, if like, say for instance, God was like a scientist, that would explain a lot, actually. Because who better to understand all this shit than the scientist? Who better to understand all of time and relativity and omnipresence and things like that, other than a person who, you know, is a scientist to some degree and understands neuroscience and understands the detriment of physics to such a degree. But then again, you know, how is he in existence? How is he still alive? How did he figure out a place to where he could, you know, suspend time and he could live forever? And is he going through all the things that we were talking about earlier of just complete fucking boredom, of just like, oh, the same shit every single day. I just wish I could be them. And I've heard things like that God is really, he doesn't, like, we don't go to church to worship God. Apparently, we go to church for God to worship us, because we have apparently this free will. But then that's when I look at religion and go, well, look at this Bible thing. This Bible thing, he clearly messes with that. And I don't think an intelligent being, an intelligent designer, would concern himself with something as ridiculous as chess pieces like religion. I think, you know, it's so complex. I don't think that any person on the planet could really explain it in one way. That's why there's so many stories on the aspect. So, you know,
Yeah.
I think a person like Gary wouldn't even waste his time with thinking about this kind of stuff. But then again, he might be able to knock it out the park as usual. So, you know.
Yeah, I think that definitely, if a God exists, it is as it appears. It's not going to be something that looks like us or that we can imagine. it's something else, because we like to think of ourselves as complicated organisms that have intelligence, and we're able to understand things using science and math and all this stuff. But life has got to be a bit more complicated than that, especially because we're just something that's been created out of energy and matter. It's pretty incredible, to say the least. And so
Well,
whatever it is, it's going to be something that's totally beyond our comprehension, I think. But yeah.
If you think about it in this aspect, I don't know if you've seen God's Not Dead. Like the teacher in that, like, and I've heard this said before, to completely just eliminate the discussion of if there could be a God, or if that in itself doesn't really make you all that great in philosophy. You should be able to to discuss anything, regardless of how ridiculous or how abstract you think it is. The point is that there are so many people on this planet who believe this, and they've read the Bible, and they would concur that, yeah, it's ridiculous, but I still believe that there's a being out there of an impotent power that is helping us somehow, guiding us spiritually through this life. I've had some horror stories where there's no possible way I could have made it through this without something beyond this earth helping me out. Now, I know it sounds insane to some of my my buddies, but then again, some of my buddies believe in some crazy shit too if you listen to some of them. So we all have our own mindset of the universe. We have not explored this thing. We have not. There's so just grasping of how big Earth is, let alone Jupiter. It blows my mind that there is this big giant thing floating around with us, and we're the only things in this solar system apparently. And it's kind of lonely just thinking in that within itself, that we're just on this blue rock floating around this burning thing that's gigantic, and it's.
Yeah, it's totally incomprehensible.
Yeah,
there's no way you can try to look at it from all kinds of angles and use language and look at it and create descriptions of what it is, but it's just like, the fuck, it's totally.
I mean, because
it's just crazy.
When someone comes out and says they're an atheist, they're not saying that they don't full out believe in God, even though some people would say it. But what it is just the doubt that there is a God, and then that the people who are presenting the evidence are doing such a piss poor job at doing it. Because when you're talking about faith, when you're talking about God, when you're talking about theism, you're talking about belief, you're talking about leaping out on faith, you're talking about things you normally can't prove. The definitions of belief and faith involve lack of evidence. You can go look up these definitions if you like. But is it a bad thing to be faithful? Is it a bad thing to have hope, to have this belief that there's something in the afterlife? Now, I don't believe that God would create in hell. I'm sorry. This is a ridiculous thing.
I don't necessarily agree with that idea either. But here's the thing, though. If the energy that your body's... Okay, if there is a heaven, then energy that is normally fluctuating in a chaotic manner, which would be the energy that an individual who is chaotic or destructive would be made out of, or their conscious energy, since everything is made out of energy, consciousness would be an energy. So that would be how something would go to heaven or hell, because the consciousness is a type of energy, and somehow it can go to some place. But based on that, those types of energies could not exist together. So that's why there's the whole as on heaven, or excuse me, as on earth is as in heaven,
as above, so
as
below.
Above, below, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, if you're a bad person, there's no way you could go to the good place because your energy, your conscious energy, is chaotic. So that's the whole idea. So that's why. So technically, it looks like it's a possibility if you look at it in that manner. So.
Just don't send me to the same place as Pat Robertson. All right. Just don't send me there. Or better yet, send me wherever Alex Jones goes. I'll go there.
Why?
Because he's entertaining. You don't understand. Even in the afterlife, I'm telling you, Alex Jones is still going to be preaching about aliens
The
and
government is out to get you.
the Illuminati, GMT,
Yes.
just fish in the oil in your mind, fluoride. He's still going to do it, even in heaven. He's going to be driving in the golden streets like, oh, these streets. The Illuminati placed these here a long time ago to ensure that you become a part of the establishment. Folks, you got to believe it. It's like, Jesus,
Awesome.
Alex, we're in heaven. Relax.
It's okay, man. You're
Here,
okay.
smoke this. It's okay, Alex. It's okay.
So Hermine, am I saying your name right?
It's Airmean.
Hermine?
Air.
Hermine?
Air, like the air you breathe.
Oh, Airmine.
Yeah.
Like that? Okay. Any thoughts on this?
No,
I know.
I was listening for a little bit. I just jumped
Okay.
in. I wasn't watching.
Okay. So we're talking about deism. So, but yeah, so basically, I think that it is possible that there's some kind of energy or force behind everything, which is why I'm not an atheist. I'm an agnostic, because I can't quite conclude that there's nothing going on there, because it seems interesting.
Ask you about this because when I brought it up in my hangout, people kind of called me crazy. But when you brought up about energy in terms of where it goes after we die, because I believe that we are energy. We don't just go away. We transfer. Energy transfers normally. So what you're talking about in terms of being like, to me, I think good and bad are subjective things, but I think the soul is something that could be something that's like disturbed, which is why I'd always preach find your happiness, because you want to be a happy person. You want to be uplifting. You want to have your soul be into what it's into, And the anger and the depression, all that stuff's good, but at the end of the day, what does your soul say? I think that energy could be read, can be deciphered by something. And that will determine whether you go to a place of peace or a place of disturbance. Now, I wouldn't say necessarily heaven or hell, but I would say
some kind of a afterlife.
Just this negative kind of vibe thing that you go to. And I don't want to go there. I want to go to a place of positivity, a place of positive vibe, and not worrying and not any of that stuff. But do you think that different energy could go to different places based on different personalities on this planet? Do you think there's certain heavens for certain people based on those personalities? Like, if you are the hardcore metal guy, then there's a heaven for you. But if you're the peaceful, gentle person, then there's a heaven for you. Like, I wouldn't consider it hell. But just, if you want to be disturbed, there's a heaven for you to be disturbed all you want. You could be disturbed, you could walk up and down and be depressed and disturbed and suicidal and whatever. But that's your heaven. That's the heaven that you created because of how you have extrapolated. Am I saying that word right? Your expressed your feelings throughout life. All right, and that could be the deal. I mean,
and if there is like a soul of some sort, or if consciousness survives after death, I think it really has to be something that has to do with energy. Because that's what everything is made out of, matter and energy. So it has to be somehow, and energy is something that could survive without the matter. So if there is a soul of some sort, it has to be energy, I think. And so, I really think that if there is a soul, it probably has something to do with the brain in some way. So I think it has something to do with your consciousness or something like that. But it's all hypothetical, and I don't know anything. So,
well,
but,
it's still good to speculate on it, because it's like, again, don't turn it to Kevin Sorbo, in that movie. It's okay to speculate. It's okay to I have been around certain atheists, and they just like, no, I refuse to even believe that there could possibly be because of this and that. And it's like, well, dude, can you just... No, true. There's nobody. It's just stupid. And it's like, well, okay, yeah, I agree. Most of religion is dumb, but let's not talk about religion. Let's talk about this spiritual thing. Let's talk about what you feel. They can't clone human beings because they can't recreate that energy that makes us.
That's interesting too. Yeah. And so something is causing that.
That's what I'm saying. there's something. I mean, I know personality could be a trait of a development based on environment, but like, what if, just what if, there's a construct to it? There's a, think about it. What is the first man on the planet innately? Adam. What are the things that are keeping us together? The cells, the atoms in our body.
Yeah. Okay, careful.
I know.
Correlation is to prove causation, but yes. Mm-hmm.
I know. I understand. But I'm just simply saying. Maybe most of what we're experiencing in religion is metaphorical to something else that has been, that's just again. I'm on the same level as you. I can't prove any of this crap. I'm not even trying to prove any of this crap. But it's just up for speculation. It's up for talk. Where some people just don't even want to go there whatsoever. And I think, well, shit, can we at least talk about it at least once every 3 years? Once every 3 seconds? No? Okay, fine, fair, whatever. Some people have their own things. Some people don't feel comfortable talking about this, where others do, and others think it's crazy, and others think it's this or that. It's whatever.
Yeah, I think we can agree life is crazy. What is happening? I don't think any of us really know for sure, but it is fascinating. Any last thoughts on this, you guys?
Well, as I said in the beginning, I myself used to be a deist, and I didn't even think, when I did believe in a God, I didn't even think that he created an afterlife. I thought that when we died, we would just get reincarnated, so we would have different experiences.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, guys. Well, go ahead.
I used to read. I brought up Gershom Scholem to you because I read his Kabbalah book that he had, right? Which he has a bunch of different writings about it, but he had one book that was specifically about the Jewish Kabbalah. And from what I remember of it, what the idea was, I really liked the idea of it. I don't necessarily believe it, but I like the idea of it. And what the idea is that there was this God that came from another place, a place that was separate from our universe as we know it. And he was not the only one of his kind, but he's the only one of his kind that we would have any contact with at all, right? And this God created the world as a mechanism. And the angels and the demons were left to maintain this world. And they could only act through a vector, through a human, right? Or humans. And the idea, what I liked about it, was that this God would create the planets and stuff, the solar systems, and it would just keep moving on. And you would never see him. You would never meet him, whatever. There was no chance of that in the Kabbalah, right? And what happens after, as far as the afterlife and that, I think once you lose your physical form, you get rejoined into the Gulf, right? The Well of Souls, or the Godhead, right? And as far as the stuff with words, right? The importance of words and spells and stuff like that. The idea was that the Word of God was a tool, was a mechanism to control the world, right? To control physical reality. And theoretically, if you could learn these words, and if you could speak these words, speak the language of the gods, you could usurp his power, right? And I was always fascinated by that belief of that. It's kind of like a God that's not a God, a world that's not necessarily organic as we think of it. And there's all of these chaos factors left in charge to kind of fight over who's going to control it, right?
Yeah.
I think there's an interesting discussion about the debate of God and the language of God, because it's like we are just like so limited here as human beings. Our sight, our way of thinking, it's very limited. And compared to an all-knowing person, we would be, considerably, in the minds of that person, that being a child, a person that lacks so much understanding. It's so vast, the understanding that we probably more or less lack. It even says in the Bible, "Lean not toward your own understanding." So, you know, there probably is a greater mystery to be had, but again, I don't think it could be found through religion. I think there's something hiding the truth, and I think you have to go through religion to get to it. But damn it, if it's not annoying that you have to go through religion to get to it.
Fascinating. Yeah, I don't know, guys. And I may never know. Actually, it's very highly likely I will never know.
But that's the whole point of it, is that we don't know, and that's what makes it so fascinating and worth looking into.
Yeah. And I'm definitely feeling like I'm getting to a place where I'm ready to sort of let that kind of conversation go. Because, yeah. It's like a, what is it? Circular. It's a circular discussion, kind of. So.
Reductionist, or.
Yeah. I mean, it just doesn't go anywhere, you know. Because none of us can be the whole thing is that we're trying to assess the value in terms of finding some kind of evidence. So we've got hypothesize, and we're trying to find some evidence to prove this or that, and it's kind of no matter what, you just end up going in a circle with it, right? So,
that's usually what happens.
Yeah. But it's still fascinating nonetheless. Anything else you guys want to say on this before we move on?
I think we probably killed that one, huh?
Yeah, we did, indeed. Okay. So, is everything connected? If so, what are we to make of this? Wow, that's deep.
Well, we have to be connected because we all came from one place. So we were all at one place at one time before. So it would only make sense that we're connected in one way, shape, form, or fashion, regardless of animals, humans. It doesn't matter. We all came from the sun. We would not be here without the sun, and that's just evident. That's fact. That's something you could take to the bank with you. All the elements that are in the earth, the harder elements in the core, and all the soft stuff on the surface, all of it from the sun. So you could sit here and be mad at this person or that person, but again, you're getting mad virtually at yourself. You're getting mad at your own origins. You're getting mad at your own source. So, I mean, that much is evident. We are stardust. The planets, there's a reason why the inner planets are rocky and the outer planets are gassy. It's because of the sun. Basically, everything evolves around the sun. It's not just it's not just some saying. It's a real thing. It really has a lot to do with the matter and how close it is to the sun, vice how far away it is, and normally you're going to get rockier planets because they're cooking at a higher temperature than the gas planets, which their matter is much more spread out, and so it just turns into a gas. The surface is gas, and in the core it's very, 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 very I wouldn't say dense core, but definitely nothing that you would be able to recognize on this planet.
Interesting. Any more thoughts, guys?
Restate the question, will you? Because I want to make sure I have it, but there's two aspects that I hear in that question. Can you restate it? Can you restate the question?
Yeah. So, just a second.
Okay.
I dumped it because that was our last question. So I'm like, don't need this anymore.
Well, are we connected? Something
yes.
Like that, right?
Is everything connected? If so, what are we to make of this?
Okay, so it was what are we to make of this?
Yeah.
I actually want to take it a step further. Not only would I say that everything is connected, I would actually say that everything is living. So, and it's in that like living, or I don't know if it's an energy. I don't know how you describe it, but that similarity that we have with matter, or and I guess light is matter, and any aspect of it, I would say that there is definitely a connection there, and it is felt on in various aspects, but with more than just our five senses. Ooh, okay. I probably just went really woo on that, but I will leave it there.
What?
Well, that's
you
like
can't you can't just leave it there.
right. Uh,
No, it's okay.
so
Interesting.
Ermine, is that how you pronounce it?
Ermine.
Ermine. I'm sorry. Are you a panpsychist?
No,
But you know what that is, right?
no, I don't.
Oh, okay. Well, a panpsychist, if I have it right, I might have it a little bit off. Is this belief that everything is part of one consciousness, like the planets, the inorganic and organic matter, living things, dead things, they're all pretty much alive, have some type of consciousness that's holding the atoms together.
Ooh, I
And
agree with the consciousness part.
right. Like the consciousness is kind of like the thing binding everything together. But even in so much as atoms, like that, there's a consciousness dictating what electrons do and stuff like that. Um, which I kind of I don't know what my belief is on that. I was an atheist for a while, as a panpsychist for a while, that kind of thing, and I believed in molecular consciousness, which was something a little bit different. Right now, I don't know what I believe, but I know the Greeks had this thing called the ether, right? And they believed that this ether was this kind of spiritual force that was an energy that kind of permeated everything.
That
And that,
probably more aligned with there's something that's permeating everything that we all have in common. I'll give you an example. It really will only take me. I'll give you the short version of this. But had one of the most incredible out of this world experiences of my life. Like it was emotionally, connectedly, like one of those things that just took me to a whole nother level. Okay. And some people can talk about being in the zone, some people can reach it through um, pulling into their chakras, some through tantric sex, whatever the situation was. But the point is, um, it was at that moment where, I was sitting with my friend and he started to speak to me. And I was like, no, 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 don't talk. Because I could literally feel the vibrations of what was coming out of his mouth. And it was so intense and it was hitting me like on every single level. The TV was on in the background. And though it wasn't making sounds, the light emanating from it could be felt at a level that it could never be felt at before. The blanket that was like right over me actually had a weightiness to it, but it
mhm.
wasn't weight that was a physical weight. It was something about I'm connected to this blanket, but couldn't explain why.
Right.
Hmm.
It was like at that moment, and it's only happened, two times in my entire life where I've been that connected, and it wasn't going on with my typical five senses that I thought, and that's a hard thing to explain to a theist or an atheist,
Hmm.
those moments, and they may only last 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever, but in that space, there was something bigger than I had ever experienced before. And it's like constantly searching and trying to get that feeling again. And it's, not drug related, but I bet you get there as well through drugs. So it was just that I was that when you ask the question, are we connected? Of course. What are we supposed to think about it? I think we live most of our lives not even recognizing it. And if we're so fortunate, we get the experiences to not only know that we are connected, don't know how, but that there's something more to everything that's out there, and how we distinguish between what's living and what's not. So that's why I wanted that was my explanation. Logically, does it make sense? Rationally, absolutely not.
Well, everything is made of multiple molecules, And so I could see how, yeah, I could see how that's possible. I mean, it's just a way of explaining it, I guess, to some people. But to me, I could kind of, yeah, because I've been there in a sense.
But here's my question: is sound a molecule?
Sound can be considered energy. If it's energy, then yeah.
Can it be considered energy?
Yeah.
Well, sound is a form of kinetic energy.
Yeah. See, that's I'm trying to figure out what's the mass in sound.
Well, I mean, well, see, the sound itself doesn't have the mass because it's moving through a medium, right? So it'd be the air that would have the mass that the sound is moving through.
It's reverberating against.
So, or it's moving it or moving through it, right?
Well, I guess it's like affecting the air around it in terms of like you could break the sound barrier. So that takes how fast you have to go in order to do that.
Well, I get that it takes energy to create sound. I've just never known sound to be energy.
Well, I was watching some video where they were breaking it down in terms of what sound can do and what it can affect in terms of like if you get something loud enough or at the right frequency, it could like affect like glass or balloons or things like that. I mean, it's up to interpretation, but I don't think it would be considerably an energy.
Well, something.
Ozzy says sound is not an energy. The mass in sound is sinusoidal wave train of compressed air molecules, I guess.
Okay, so that could make more sense. Oh, Ozzy is watching?
Yeah.
Oh, I had no clue. Can you drop me the link where he's watching, the watch link? So, oh gosh, I'm totally embarrassed because now he just heard.
I'm the one that quoted the term that sound is energy. So who should feel embarrassed here?
No, it was my whole story.
Well, I wasn't sure if it was energy or not, but I know for a fact it does distort the air around it. So it does have an effect. Like I guess whatever source the sound is coming from, it has like an effect on the air around it. So.
Right. So, but it was just that was the one element that I felt was also alive, and that's the point that didn't have mass to it, and that was the point I was trying to, well, mass as I knew it anyway. So I was shocked that I could even feel and sense that, and that's all.
Fair enough. I'm what is this here? Let's see. Oh. That's the link to you guys.
Well, you were in an altered state of perception, right? So this is something you wouldn't normally experience, but for some reason you experienced it at that time. So you know these events, these things happen all around you all the time, but for some reason you were just open to it at that particular time.
Right.
Interesting. Intriguing.
Well, there's this thing called this video called Rave or something like that, where these kind of like dancers. I'll just go ahead and say they're typically the African American descent, and their dance moves similarly mimic those of which from the moves that the tribesmen do in Africa, almost damn near the same way. And regardless of the fact that African Americans from Los Angeles, California, or wherever they shot that film, have never really met these people over here in Africa, but yet they're doing the same exact dance. And you hear that in different races, like even though American Jews have never met Jews over here, they still have similarities amongst their race, and it's an unexplainable thing. But then again, you also have cultural appropriation, that thing where different people from different cultures, from different races, take on the traits and the personalities of those from other races and cultures. So you also have that. So it's wishy-washy, kind of, actually, just thinking about that.
So
Connectivity.
Steve Steve McRae says, I hope I said his last name right. He says that sound is energy.
So now, we sparked a debate. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Well, let's make a
baby.
distinction. Okay, you have sound and you have sound waves, right? Sound waves are a form of kinetic energy, but sound is what you perceive, right? That's the sensation you perceive, the way you interpret it, right? But it is caused by kinetic energy.
Okay, fair enough.
When a speaker moves, it is mechanical force that moves the air.
Which is kinetic energy.
Sound energy is a measurement to do mechanical work.
Is that what I was trying to say earlier? With the thing with the air thing and the distortion of the air, and is that kinetic energy?
Yeah, but then Ozzy says, Steve, we can measure the kinetic effects of sound, but sound is not an energy. And then Steve responds saying, we call it sound energy. I don't know.
Well, sound waves,
You know what? God damn it, we have Google right here.
Save
Go
us.
ahead and
Google
Go ahead.
overloads.
I say we drop a link to him in the Hangout. I mean, come in. Come in.
The
Yeah,
sound.
but it's interesting. So
I know Ozzy can't join, so Steve should just come in here and just set everything straight.
Okay, it says sound energy is the energy made by sound vibrations as they travel through a medium. Sound vibrations cause waves of pressure. Sound is a renewable source of energy. So if it causes pressure, it's I don't know, it's something going on. It says sound vibrations cause waves of pressure. So there you go. I knew I was right in terms of something being distorted in the air. I knew I was on the right track, but I just didn't know what the hell I was trying to say. But it says, yeah, that's just pretty much what it says. And then there's also something about sound energy by on Prezi or something like that. Let me see what it says on this thing. You guys go ahead, mingle.
Don't tell me what to do, True.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. You can tell me what to do. Yeah, guys, so anything else on this whole connectivity stuff? I thought it was interesting what some of you guys said. I definitely think everything is connected in the sense that everything in an ecosystem or an environment relies on other things to work in a particular way for each thing's survival. So everything has to be in balance. There has to be this ebb and flow, give and take for things to flourish in terms of life functioning in reality. So definitely, I think everything is connected in that manner. But like in terms of what we were discussing, whereas we're like connected through something else, like whereas it's some kind of a thing like you were talking about, something called the ether, where there's this energy that flows through everything. I don't know about that, but I think everything has a relation to something else, and then a responsibility because of that relation.
Well, kind of like the, we see it in popular fiction like Star Wars, right? Like the Force, right? Or Dragon Ball Z, the spirit bombs and stuff like that. It's what we're looking at with the connectivity is a type of spiritualism, I imagine. And the ether, I know me and Piero had a big argument about this once. And it was the idea that, alcohol, is called spirits and stuff like that. And actually spirits, any reference to spirits, back in the old days, right? It was like people thought that the wind, every time the wind blew, that was spirits going by it, right? And when you drank something with alcohol in it, it was the spirits that entered you. It wasn't that you were drunk, it was that you were drunk with the spirits, right? The demons had entered you or whatever, or angels. And so we've kind of abandoned, with atheism and agnosticism and that, we've kind of abandoned some of the spiritual ideas, but reinvented them in pop culture, right? But there's people who believe in, there's stuff like telepathy and stuff like that, right? And we don't have anything that we can, or very little scientific proof of anything like that. So then we have to wonder, do we observe things in a connected manner? Do we kind of interpret things as being connected where they're really not? Schizophrenics have a tendency to see connections where there aren't connections, you know. But do normal people have a degree of that, right? Do normative people have a degree of that, or is there actually a spiritual connection? As far as ecosystem and all that, yeah, we know we're connected. You know, we have to eat to survive, and we excrete stuff, and there's animals that you know, feed us and live off of our waste and everything else, right? So there's always a biological connectivity.
Right.
Yeah, but the spiritual connectivity, that's the challenge. If there's some kind of underlying energy, subspace, whatever that connects us.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to say.
So you're doing some reading on the side there. What's going on?
Okay, what I'm looking up here, basically, sound, what it's basically defined as is vibrations that travel through the air, are another medium, and can be heard when they reach a person's ear or animal's ear. And it says here that light travels faster than sound. And then the second definition on it, and as in accordance to a verb, apparently, or no, it's not. I'm sorry, it's still in the noun realm. It says sound produced by continuous and regular vibrations as opposed to noise. And then it says to emit or cause to emit sound. And then you also can convey a specified impression when heard. So I guess it's more or less a reaction. And then the other thing I found on sound is apparently it's energy. It's its own distinct energy, apparently. And they just refer to it as sound energy. And apparently it says sound energy is produced when an object vibrates. The sound vibrations cause waves of pressure that travel through a medium such as air, water, wood, or metal. Sound energy is a form of mechanical energy. So it's energy.
So let me ask a question then to Steve, and if you guys are going to say that it is energy, I heard that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. What is going on with sound?
Oh, well, it's being manipulated.
So what happens to it after it's created?
Well,
Well,
it's being emitted. So obviously, sound has a source, which is kind of why it's its own energy in a sense. It's not really. I don't know. I could go deeper, but it's kind of not covered right here.
That's fine.
It just says it's its own energy, but it normally has to have a place where it's emitted. I mean, it does have quite an effect on a lot of different elements, but it doesn't necessarily say on what kind of energy or anything like that. I have to dig deeper on what kind of energy it is.
Well, like if you have say two cars crash or a boulder falls or something on cement or whatever. Okay, there's an impact, and that's mechanical and that's kinetic. And when that strikes, when the two objects strike, the force of it, the pressure waves travel through a medium, being the air. And that's, if you're nearby listening to that, if you happen to hear that, then what you're hearing is sound, right? But as far as the pressure wave itself, that would be a sound wave, and that would be an expression of kinetic energy.
And it's basically giving the examples of what it travels through, such as air, water, wood, or metal. Now, in terms of can it be heard underwater? Yeah, you hear all kinds of freaky shit underwater, sure. As a matter of fact, whales, their number one source of communicating is sound, and sound waves and things like that. Wood, I don't know. Metal, I don't know either. So it's something I would have to hands-on test, because I'm more of a hands-on kind of pseudoscientist than just a speculation kind of guy. I would love to test it.
All right, but this is an example of why I'm hesitant on calling it energy. It's Five Guy said, I would say sound continues until it slows down by friction of going through molecules. I kind of agree with that one. But that is
Well,
not,
what's a pressure wave, right? Or I mean, it's an expression of energy. It's something had to strike something to create that sound wave. So it is an expression of kinetic energy, right? Or mechanical energy, but it is an expression of energy. Now it travels through a medium. Now, whether that medium is air, water, metal, wood, whatever, the wood, the metal, the air, that's not the expression of energy.
and Steve says sound is just like light here. Light is energy. I disagree because light in and of itself has two aspects. It has the wave functionality, but it also has the particle. And in the particle, I can see the energy and the wave, like it has the potential to go fast. But in sound, I don't see that. So I like the arguments that I'm hearing. I'm just not, something's not coming clear for me to agree that it's energy.
Well, see, okay. Um,
And if anything,
on
I would describe it as potential energy over kinetic.
well, no,
It's both
okay.
kinetic and potential energy.
If you take it down to an atomic level, right, there are objects that are hitting other objects. They're slamming into other objects. This creates a reaction. That reaction is a pressure wave. That pressure wave travels through a medium. The medium being air, water, whatever. And there's still energy passing through it in that pressure wave. Now, that pressure wave could be described as a mechanical wave, a kinetic wave, whatever, but that's what the sound wave is. Now, the sound is how we perceive it. That's why when people say that trick question, like, well, do you hear a sound? If you don't see the trees crash or whatever, do you hear a sound or whatever? Yeah. The thing is that the sound is the way you perceive it, the way your senses perceive it. The sound wave is the pressure wave, the energy, the kinetics.
Well, it's interesting because at this wiki link, this sound energy stuff. So there is a sound energy. So it's being called sound energy, and but like you guys are saying, I'm reading the description here, and it doesn't totally make sense to me either.
That's what I was trying to tell you.
So yeah, I mean. Yeah, I guess is it energy? I mean, can something be called energy and?
Well, I'm trying to compare it to, in a way, kinetic energy where it runs out after a while, or it kind of like gives in due to its own motion of where it's traveling through. So maybe if it's traveling through wood or if it's traveling through metal, it has a different effect, or it has a different speed. But then again, I would have to test that. I would have to know. Because I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head. I would have to, like, how does sound travel through this, or how does sound travel through, because we used to have different means of communicating back then. You remember the old can through the string thing. Like, how did sound travel through that? And that energy process happened from one source to another. So
Right.
Sound is imminent. I mean, not imminent, but what's the word? It comes from a source.
It's emitted from something.
Yes,
Right.
it's usually being is coming from a place.
See,
Whether it be humans or whether it be speakers or object, like the Earth makes a sound, like
Right.
so.
Yeah, and the tin cans with the string, that's I think sympathetic vibration. I think that's the way they describe that. I'm not sure. But yeah, I think we're all talking about the same thing. It is a type of energy.
Now, Five Guys saying sound is the byproduct of energy itself. I totally agree with that.
Well, sound is a perception. Sound waves is the energy. That's the pressure wave. That's what you're describing.
But he's saying a byproduct of energy, like it's coming from energy itself. Is that what he's saying?
Exactly. Like, I don't really care about sound energy. That wasn't the question I was asking. It was specifically about sound. Is sound energy? And to me, they're distinctly different. in it just seems like sound is the byproduct of when something of what is it called? Some matter hits matter. It gives off a vibration or a wave, and when matter hits matter, that's fine, but it takes that energy to do that. It takes energy in to do that. But
I can see that. Yeah.
sound is
Because yeah, I definitely see that.
and
Yeah.
it seems like something different.
I could see that. I could see how sound, yeah, that makes sense because it seems like when you're dealing with sound, it's always coming from a place of energy, of greater energy. It seems so. It would almost seem like it would take something of greater energy in order to create something of loud. But then again, there's also like the dog whistle, you know, like is there a lot of energy going into that? Because there's also things like frequency that I don't think we're taking into account too. So. Like, what kind of energy does it take to produce that? Like, does it take a lot of energy, or does it take just?
Yeah,
Like,
I think we're really kind of driving this into the ground because light has different frequencies, right? And you have different spectrum of light, right? Electromagnetic radiation, right? And then at some level, light drops into a frequency that turns into sound. There's like a sound frequency, right? So yeah, they're all energy. I mean, there shouldn't be any dispute whether it's energy or not. It still falls in the category of energy.
So can we just sum it all up and just say that it comes from an energy source?
Yep.
Okay. Cool. Well, I'm glad we did that.
Yeah.
That was fun. That was fun.
Well, that was your last question, right? I'm sorry that I made that drag out a while.
Oh no,
No,
that's
you're
part of the
nowhere
fun.
near as bad as this one guy that stopped in our hangout this one time.
Mhm.
So you're cool.
Yeah, you're not Darwin's
George.
deity.
George.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
the
you
child
forgot
that
about that?
Yeah.
For the past 4 weeks, that's all I've been hearing about is Darwin's deity. Darwin's deity. Oh my God,
Oh.
can you believe how crazy this guy is? Darwin deity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, geez Louise. Talk about the logic church, man.
Yeah. Guys, so I have some more stuff to talk about if you guys are interested.
Okay, cool.
Well, actually, I'm going to go ahead and take off, so I bid you guys farewell and have a good day.
All right, later, True. Take care, brother.
Peace.
Good seeing you, True.
You too.
So, so I was looking up what will America look like in 2060. I was trying to find out the future of America, and one thing that is predicted is that there are not going to be very many white people. So, what do you guys think about that?
There's two aspects of this chart that's really interesting. One is I thought Hispanics are black, are every color, basically, except for maybe Asian. So I don't understand how they break it up, because are they saying Hispanic, not white, is what that Hispanic stands for?
I'm not sure either, but
Because otherwise I just don't agree with that chart at all.
yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this too. I thought the whole changing the face of America, there's going to be fewer white people. I mean, I definitely think that's true, but in terms of all these numbers, I'm not sure I agree with that. But this headline is interesting. And I definitely think that this is going to go down because in a lot of first world countries, a lot of white people are not reproducing. I think that's because of the economic situation. I think people don't feel like they can afford children. So
this whole chart really bothers me, because the second
yeah.
shows is 2043 will be cited as the year of the white minority. So that's where it tips from being, I'm assuming, 50%. Well, all that, there's still the white majority because there's no other ethnic or race group. And again, I think it's wrong, that makes up more than 51%. So whites will still be the majority, because I don't know that black people, Hispanic, and Asians consider themselves other or opposite of white.
Yeah, right. I agree with you. And I just thought this was interesting. Any other thoughts on that?
I don't know that poll. I know I've heard, or not poll. I don't know that study, right? But I've heard things like that, and I hear that a lot of okay, where you have like religious, like Latino communities, right, and which are more religious, I guess, than white communities as a whole. They still have a lot of children, a lot of kids, where a lot of whites that are upper middle class or middle class don't have or haven't been having as many children, and it could be even a little bit a matter of greed or a matter of trying to conserve wealth, that kind of thing. But I think it's the tendency of, I think, people that have more money to, and I could be wrong on this, to have less children.
Yeah.
And what the outcome is that you are going to have this dropping off of whatever country it is, where you have this upper class or this middle class or whatever, you're going to have that dropping off, and it is going to be more or less white, I guess. But I don't know with these studies. I don't know which. I haven't done enough research on it to know. Like, but I don't think it's going to matter that much to a degree. I think that people are trying to make a story out of it. They're trying to make it into an incendiary thing, and because it's always good for scare tactics, right?
Right. Yeah.
Or politics and stuff. And I think we do have some real problems with our border patrol, stuff like that, right? Which is a separate issue. But I think the way that the media plays it, they try to group all this together, right? So that when you bring up the issue of, say, illegal aliens, right, what's going to be thrown in your face is, well, you're a racist, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's usually what gets thrown at people's faces when they bring it up, just for bringing it up, right? And like the Trump rally, there was a story earlier about a bunch of Mexicans that had crossed the border that were burning American flags and trying to block him off from going to his own rally, which would be, depending how you look at it, with the law in it, that would be an invasion, right? And the White House had their press secretary statement where they were like, well, these are just protesters and that. Well, I didn't tell you that. They're protesters from another country, right? So the media is playing a lot of this stuff. I remember years ago they were talking about I think by this time we were all supposed to be gray. Everyone in the world was supposed to be gray, right? And because of all the interracial stuff, right? And I don't know. I don't know how the trends are going to play out. I don't know that it's a really important thing,
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that any thing that you comment on it, you got to really watch everything, because there are people that are going to play that, and they're going to play it like either you're a racist or you're a communist or you're this or that or whatever, right?
Yeah, and I think there's still plenty of white people. So I think maybe it's kind of getting, distorted quite a bit. I see a lot of white kids in school, so I think we're gonna be all right, and it doesn't really matter what color somebody is anyway, so or at least it doesn't matter to me. But but it's still interesting to see how people are mixing together a little bit more, and things are diversifying a little bit, and I'm kind of excited to see what happens. So.
Hey, I got a topic. If you want to just weigh in on this, just tell me what you think. And I was asking a guy at work about this because it really kind of bothered me, but it's something that's kind of a subtle issue or sublime issue, I guess. There's some reporters I know from St. John's, Canada, right? And they were covering this vigil for a little girl who had just died. right? And what the okay, I'm telling you the way that the story came to me, right? Okay, so they start posting all this stuff on Twitter, and it shows all these pink chairs, and these people are wearing pink shirts, and it shows this little girl that's probably, oh, I don't know, about 8, 9, somewhere around there, and it's this vigil for this girl named Quinn, right? And the name of the vigil is Light It Up Quinn, right? And so I didn't give any thought to it. I'm looking at the pink chairs and the pink shirts and the little girl there, and I'm thinking like, wow, she must have had cancer, right? Because I mean, is that what you would think if you saw, you know, that type of ad with this girl that passed away, right? Okay, so anyway, so I'm reading through because they posted a few other things, and I wanted to support them because I know these people that are doing this vigil. So I go through the comments, and I see one guy in the comments that he's like, "What the hell's the matter with you? You know, how could you name it this?" And then I'm like, "Uh-oh, there's something to the story that I haven't read that I have to read." Well, apparently, Quinn's father had went crazy and had lit the house on fire and had burned the brother to death, the mother to death, the girl to death, and I think somehow he survived. I think he's in the hospital or something. So anyway, these people are still running with this. This is this hashtag on Twitter, and it says, "Light It Up Quinn," right? And I don't know what the reference is. I think it might be to a song by a group. Maybe it was a song she liked. Maybe it was a song the family liked. But I was like, look, I was like, I know your hearts are in the right place, right? And I said, I want to help you with this, but I am not spreading this hashtag. It's just really inappropriate, right? Now, do you think my reaction is an overreaction, or is it these are news anchors that are behind this thing, throwing this thing? I figure they should know PR to know that that's just not right if you read it, right? Or maybe I'm overreacting.
Yeah, I think so. No, I think it's kind of unnecessary, you know.
Yeah, I mean, light it up.
Everybody knows bad things happen like that, so.
Right. So I mean, maybe what I'm saying is maybe I'm making a bigger deal out of it than it is. I don't know, but the thing is that you know, this was a girl that died in a fire that her dad set, and their vigil for it is hashtag Light It Up Quinn.
Yeah, that's a little.
I mean, somewhere down the line, somebody had to say when they're putting this together, say, hey, wait, whoa. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's weird, but I'm not able to explain why it's weird. It's just.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's not the way they meant it, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm sure it's not.
It's playful. It's almost funny, you know, but it's not. Like, it's.
No, it's not. But I mean.
Yeah.
It's almost as bad as if they had a barbecue, and it was like
neurotic,
cooking with Quinn or something. You know, I mean, it's just.
Yeah, it's odd. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Inappropriately odd.
So what is Ermine? Ermine. I know. I'm sorry. I said it right. So what do you think of this?
So I do marketing and messaging, and I do most of it in social and digital media. And I think the challenge that I have, it goes to when anyone wants to create a campaign, they don't do enough research on two fronts. One is when I worked at GE, we always did these failure mode effects analysis or risk assessments. One of these risks would have been brought up where is this the right hashtag? Do you understand the story? And so the challenge that I have is first in that was even allowed to go out. And because of that, where you want to support, you can't do the most obvious support. I think it's wise to not share that.
Right. It
spoils you in a way that, wait a minute, you're resharing junk that you didn't even read first?
Well, the thing is that the people who are sponsoring this or throwing this, are people that I know that I've talked to before. Not just through media, but I know them personally, a few of them. And the thing is that I put my trust in them because what I had seen was this all these pink T-shirts made for this thing, and these pink chairs set out there, and I had made the assumption because it wasn't put on the original article how she died, and maybe they thought it was being sensitive because of the way she died, because of the father and that. Maybe that's what they were thinking. But then once I read into it, so I shared it once, but then after I read into it and I saw that guy's comment, I'm like, okay, what's going on with this comment? Because I read, it was like half a page, and I still didn't know anything about the girl, right? All I knew is that the community knew who she was and all this other stuff. So, but I didn't know how she died or what she had, so I thought, well, maybe she had some disease, or maybe it's some cancer or something like that. And maybe the lighted up Quinn just has to do with the, lighting candles or whatever, which is probably what they meant, like for a vigil, right? But then when I saw that it was an arson thing that she was a victim of, that seems very, very inappropriate to me. Now, apparently, this other guy that made the comment that kind of alerted me to it, he was the only other person I saw that had a problem with it. Everybody else was all on board with it. So I'm wondering if that might be a regional cultural thing. Maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way or something, but it just sounds really, really inappropriate to me. You know what I'm saying? Like to share.
It doesn't like show what they're going for either.
Yeah, it's a vigil, and I don't know if it's. I guess it's to honor her, and probably to raise funeral expenses or whatever. But geez, I think they could have came up with something better than that. It just seemed really insensitive and inappropriate to me. But sometimes I have to wonder, because I read a lot into words and what people put on that stuff. And one of the things of the culture of Twitter and hashtags is that we get so used to seeing all these hashtags that are, kill all men or whatever, right? And yes, all women, kill all men, all this other stuff. And I think we get desensitized to it, right? And so when these people put this hashtag out, I'm sure they didn't do it to purposely, they didn't do it out of malice. They did it to support this girl or her family or whatever, her community. But I just think they didn't think it through,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's too bad too, because I mean, like, I don't know. They should have thought it should have been like something vigil for something, or it just
Yeah, they could have just vigil for Quinn. I mean, that's not as catchy, right? But I mean, I don't know, just lighted up Quinn. That just seems so over the top, inappropriate, and I had no idea the first time I saw it, right?
Yeah, it sounds kind of psychotic.
Yeah.
Sometimes, it's a little neurotic sounding. I don't, and like you're saying, like insensitive to the situation. Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Definitely.
Huh. So anyway, that was kind of bugging me. That was just one of the things I wanted to do in video or whatever, and I never got to it. But then the thing is like, even if I did a video like kind of discussing that topic, I wouldn't use the hashtag for sure in the title of the video, right? Because then that would be just as bad, right?
Well, do you guys have anything else you wanted to talk about? I'm thinking about ending early today, so it's up to you guys.
I don't have anything else to chat about. I really appreciate you allowing me in, and that was a lot of fun. Nice meeting you. Well, not you.
Yeah.
I've met you before, but TJ.
Nice seeing you.
Yeah.
Were you ever in a Hangout with Stizor?
Probably, yeah.
I think I was in a hangout with you before. Do you sometimes do your hangouts where you're cooking in the kitchen?
Yes, probably, yeah.
Okay, I was in it. Yeah, yeah, she can cook. She. How come you didn't do that on his hangout here?
I'm trying to do some really healthy cooking and stuff lately. I usually do, but trying to go more on a cleanse, just kind of changing diet. So all of those fancy things that I used to cook, not so much anymore.
Well, yeah, you had you had a really nice kitchen. I remember that you had the like the bar set up with all the fancy stuff. Yeah, she does it up right.
Have fun with it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
People are like, I want your kitchen, and I'm like, you want the payment that goes with it too?
Oh yeah, yeah, it looks pretty pricey. Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. I'm gonna.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks for coming out.
Oh, hey, TJ, I'm going to talk to you in just a second.
Oh, okay.